Hey, welcome to part 2 of our interview with Greg Palast, BBC reporter who has been to Venezuela and knows a lot more about it than most people.
So she's got him a legitimate, and she's running for president.
And she's running
and people say, "Oh, Trump's stupid." Excuse me? We got, she gets the orange hair comb over ignoramus award. Unfortunately, she is joined by a whole bunch of Democrats.
Yes.
And
Nancy
this is one
Pelosi,
of the
Chuck Schumer.
horrific stories here where, for example, and that's why when you say Bernie Sanders started backing up and using a bit of the CIA line, because he had Claire Wasserman Schultz. You remember the woman who...
Debbie Wasserman Schultz?
Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
It's pronounced Debbie.
Yeah, pronounced Debbie. No, I have a friend. Got prenility. What's going on here? Let me put on my other head. I know what the problem is. I'm wearing the hat that Chavez wore. And it's shaking me up.
Okay.
I am.
Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Debbie Wasserman Schultz said that, in fact, Trump wasn't rough enough on Venezuela, even though he's withholding their money for food and medicine.
Right.
Right? He's not tough enough on Venezuela.
She's a sociopath.
And that Bernie Sanders should not be allowed in the Democratic Party unless he denounces Maduro as a dictator. He should not be permitted to run for president. This is her idea of democracy. But she already did that once. Remember, Wasserman Schultz is the one who who committed the crime, and it is a crime to move National Democratic Party funds into the primary fight against Bernie Sanders. She was the one who organized that. So this woman already has an allergy to democracy. She doesn't like it in America. She doesn't like it in Venezuela.
She doesn't like it in her district.
And so why do you think Bernie... right.
District,
and either with Tim Canova, why do you think that Bernie lets himself be pushed around by someone like Debbie Wasserman Schultz?
I think he's scared that the media is going to just really red bait him massively. And,
he's so stupid.
And they're gonna,
it's just like Barack Obama. They're going to call you a socialist anyways, you stupid asshole.
I know. So it's,
you stupid fucking asshole.
Right. So at least, he is saying that kind of halfway line as you say, oh, we shouldn't, these are terrible people, but we shouldn't invade.
Right.
Only Tulsi Gabbard, by the way, is running for president, says we are using starvation as a weapon to steal the oil of this nation. And that is illegal. And, by the way, the rapporteur for the United Nations.
Oh, my God. This is... Yeah, so you know about this. I forgot to get that video of this guy. So tell people. So the rapporteur from the UN.
Now, I understand what a rapporteur is. That's the investigator sent by the United Nations to report on what the situation is, independently of any crap.
And what did he find?
And he reported that the elected government of Maduro was that this was an attempt to overthrow an elected government and use starvation. Exactly what Tulsi Gabbard said. Use starvation to obtain the nation's oil. What he said specifically is this is a crime against humanity.
Yes.
He called it a medieval siege.
Yes. So what people, when you say siege, so I've explained this before, I'll do it again. Mm-hmm. What siege warfare is it's a war crime. So in medieval times, they would surround a city and just cut off anything coming in and out, and people would starve to death. And so they do that today, and they cut off medicine and stuff. That's called siege warfare. That's a war crime. In fact, at The Hague, they just prosecuted somebody for doing that this last year, and so that's what they're doing.
And I want to add electronically, and this is very important. In the New World, yes, you can stop shipments of food. By the way, here's the irony, right? The U.S. press concentrated on the fact that they were bringing in some boxes of food, like a bunch of candy bars to throw over the border from Brazil. Mm-hmm. And how dare they refuse humanitarian aid. What Maduro says is, we don't need charity. We need our money.
Yeah.
Britain's withholding the gold. The U.S. is withholding the money from the oil sold to the Koch brothers. They are being strangled. No, you cannot. Try to ship food to Venezuela. They can buy it. They have the money.
Yeah.
Let them use their own money to bring in their food, which is what they normally have done. And that's how they fed the population and lengthened people's lives. They won't let them do that.
Right.
And so it's a con. You take away food for 1 million people.
Right.
1 million people, and then you throw some boxes over the border, and you say, "Oh, look, they don't want the boxes."
So why don't you just get rid of if you really want to give them aid, why don't you just get rid of the goddamn sanctions? That would be a logical question. Also, if you really wanted them to have the aid, give the aid to the Red Cross, and they'll bring it in. They don't want to do that because it's not aid. What it is exactly what Elliot Abrams did before in Central America, which he strips in arms, he creates a civil war, and death squads. That's what the United States is about.
By the way, you have this guy Guaido, the Trump-appointed, self-appointed president of Venezuela, who has said he's actually invited the U.S. to invade his country. Now, as you know, in the U.S., that's called treason, and under the Constitution, the punishment is death.
Right.
Okay, this guy's literally said if Maduro doesn't step down, we are inviting whatever aid is needed militarily to overthrow the government. He's literally called for the violent overthrow of his own elected government. Imagine inviting people to invade the United States.
Right,
we're not exactly in love with Trump, but if someone said we're inviting France and Germany to invade the United States.
Imagine if Ted Cruz said that. We're inviting them because we want to overthrow Trump. Let's do it. Or Louis Gohmert or Nancy Pelosi.
Right.
Come on, somebody invade us because Trump's
the one thing is, with this idea that people are on, Nancy Pelosi is one of the least popular people in the entire nation. Can Trump appoint a new Speaker of the House? Can he,
right.
Why not make Mike Pence Speaker of the House?
Right.
Because Nancy Pelosi certainly has a lower popularity rating than Maduro of Venezuela.
Nancy Pelosi's popularity rating is half of what Trump's is.
And let's remember, so I ring up Pelosi because she's also going along with this overthrow the Venezuelan government stuff. This is suddenly, you got to explain something to me. Even I, in all my experience, can't get this one, which is, everything that Trump does is stupid and moronic. He screws up South, the Korean summit, puts the world in danger.
Syria, everywhere he's doing the wrong thing.
And the Democratic Party's pissing on him and shitting on him. Look what a dummy he is. But in Venezuela, suddenly he's a genius. Oh my God, we didn't think of naming a white guy as president for Venezuela.
That's the story. That's the
How
amazing
can Pelosi
thing.
suddenly saying that Trump is a genius? And not only that, but this was a scheme crafted by John Bolton. This is not investigative reporting. As Bolton said, this was our plan. And this is our plan. And suddenly Pelosi thinks that this right-wing albino fruitcake neocon a liar, the guy that lied, one of the people that lied us into Iraq, he's suddenly telling the truth about Venezuela.
I know.
It's absolutely
What's shocking is to see my friends on the left report verbatim what John Bolton says about Venezuela. Then they call themselves on the left. If you're doing that, you're not a journalist, you're not on the left, you're a fucking idiot. We're announcing our dates for 2019. We're going to Ventura Comedy Club, March 31st, Tempe, Arizona, Austin, Texas, Portland, Chicago, and lots more. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a list of all our dates and live shows. And please become a patron. We give you hours of bonus material. And please make sure you're subscribed. Even if you think you're subscribed, they unsubscribe people every day, and you might be one of them. Check to make sure you're subscribed, and then you have to click the bell twice so they send you a notification when we drop a video. Thanks for your support.